Namaskar and welcome to the exciting show. We are back with lots of information, debunking mythology and origins of the real terms and how the weekdays came to be. What is the source of the weekday names and weekdays and how they fit into a calendar? Most of the people do not know the calendar was a very common knowledge in India many thousands of years ago before it was standardized by the British at GMT. Earlier, the calendar was based out of India. So I think whosoever rules decides the calendar, looks like. And that's a unfortunate history of calendar. So people who want to control, they decide their own time. For others, time is important. For people who are ruling, they define the time. They decide the time. Now, what is correct, what is not correct, I leave it up to you. We are not telling you what to think, but I have a very special guest, a great friend, and a good scholar, very great good scholar, very well-known scholar across the world on these topics. So let us welcome Shri Nilesh Oak.
Namaskar, Namaskar
Namaskar,
Aditya ji.
namaskar, namaskar.
We have a very exciting topic today.
Very excited.
How the names of the weekday came about, what's their origin, and more so, why they are in the unique sequence they are in. Because not many people will able to make a sense out of it. Why they are in the sequence they are.
There's a very interesting anecdote. Somebody asked Prabhupada that which is further, moon or sun? So he said Monday comes after Sunday, so therefore Monday is further. Now, he only simplified it, but the Bhagavatam version of cosmology is totally different. I think we should cover it one day. The Bhagavad version of cosmology is so different than the modern scientist version of cosmology.
Yeah. Also, for example, every time or any time we talk about cosmology or say astronomy, the solar system, this subject comes, who is in the center? Of course, right now we say the sun is in the center, meaning in the heliocentric model. But people before thought the earth was at the center, and who is truly at the center? In the Indian astronomy, they exactly knew who was in the center. But even that particular point of view, I mean, to even ask the question who is at the center is in some sense redundant. What I mean is, it depends on what is your reference frame. So if you are on the earth and watching everything from the earth, then you are at the center. I mean, earth is at the center, right? If you are looking at the solar system, then sun is at the center. And if you look from outside the solar system, then to those outside, it doesn't look like earth is going around the sun. It actually appears like earth and all other planets are trying to chase the sun. Sun is going and they're trying to chase the sun, trying to catch up with the sun. So it's not a circular motion either. So it appears to us as a circular motion.
No, it's very clear that the yoke of the sun is set up at the Mandar mountain, Meru Parvat, and then the charioteer is Aruna, younger brother of Garud, and then Aruna. That's why I say Arunodaya, and then the charioteer is moving the horses. Now, in that, if you look at that model, then the reference point, which is center, is something else, not even Earth. And in that way, you're right, because the viewpoint of the creator or the engineer of the world is totally different. Brahma's viewpoint is different.
Right.
And then Surya, for him, Surya is just a planet and Vivaswan is ruling it.
Right.
So we should cover it one time. And I think in Mayapur, they're building a solar system based on that model.
Yes, the planetarium, right?
Yes.
The whole Vedic planetarium, correct. Yeah.
And Vrindavan also, they're building a Krishna temple, which is 1 kilometer up. They're building a planetarium there. And they're the same version they're putting across. So that will baffle many scientists, but at least it's a good attempt to show what our scriptures show. That is
definitely what Bhagavata point of view, and we will definitely get more insights, from when we have that.
So today we are talking about the origin of the weekdays and how the weekdays came about. So we can get started there. Like I told the joke on Prabhupada, he said Monday comes after Sunday.
Yes. Yeah, well, let me start with asking a question to you. So for example, like, what is the first day of the week? We will not ask that question, okay? But for a specific reason, I am, for this today's discussion, let's agree, not just you and me, but our viewers also, that Saturday is the first day of the week. It doesn't have to be. I mean, you can take any reference day, but that will help us understand this whole logic, why the names are like that, and why they occur in the sequence that they occur.
Yeah,
Okay,
correct.
so let's take Saturday as the first day. And actually, in some cultures, many cultures, actually, the Saturday is a first day. Now, as you said, when the British kind of took over, for the whole world, then the Sunday became the holiday kind of thing, and Monday became the first working day. So it's a different thing. So now, once they sat, now my question to you, Aditya ji, for example, and you don't need to know the answer, but it's good to stretch ourselves. So if Saturday is the first day, okay, and then after Saturday comes Sunday, then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and again Saturday. So now, some of the nomenclature is gone, meaning, in the English names, we don't, Sunday we understand, but if you take at the, so we're going to look at the Sanskrit names also. But do you happen to know why it is the sequence the way it is? I mean, why Sunday comes after Saturday and why Monday comes after Sunday?
Well, I think it's cyclical. So we do not know which is the first if it is cyclical.
True, true. But I'm saying, for a reference purpose, we will take Saturday as the first day. That is
Yeah.
given. But why Sunday comes after Saturday? Just like Prabhupada's humorous thing you said. Why Sunday comes after Saturday, and why Monday comes after Sunday, and why Tuesday, in Marathi it will be Mangalwar, right?
Mangalwar, correct.
Yeah.
Budwar, Mangalwar, Budwar.
Correct. These are the names of the planets, right?
Yeah,
So why it comes like that? In fact, let me bring it out, and then I will ask you the question so that everyone can see the names. Okay.
yes.
So let me start sharing. All right. Okay. So, origin of weekday names, and I should acknowledge the contribution of two other individuals. One is Sudarshan Bharadwaj. Okay, he is engineer, also works in IT industry, and he's in America. Suhas Gurjar, he's a wonderful, amazing mechanical engineer. Okay, very very brilliant mind. Also astronomer, and took a lot of interest in astronomy from his childhood. And in fact, I don't know if he's currently the president, but he is the president of the oldest astronomy watchers club in India. I mean, that's, I think, goes back to, if I am correct, 100 years or more than 100 years old in India. So it's based in Pune, Jyotirvidya Parisamstha. Okay, so he's very much connected with it. So I do want to acknowledge their contribution to this. And when the specific slide comes, if I remember, I will mention that. All right. So with this, here is our sequence. Okay. So all right, let me make the window smaller. So what you are seeing here is, that's the sequence. The very first column is in Sanskrit. The next one I put it, because I got to make the slide, I can do it whatever I want, right? So I put it in the Marathi, but those are very, very similar for most part with many of the Indian language and the names. Then English, then Latin, Thai, Balinese, and Mongolian. Okay, something very interesting. So let's start with English, because everyone can relate to that. So Saturday, as I said, let's take that as a reference number one, like as if that's the first day of the week. It doesn't have to be, but because the sequence is fixed, we can take that. Then comes Sunday, then comes Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, the things are very obvious. Saturday is like a Saturn, like a Shani, the planet Saturn. Sunday is Sun. Monday, if you think in terms of the moon or mind, then we got Monday, so that's after the moon. But the Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday are not very clear, because these are over time in English, they came after the Norse gods, or Roman gods, and so on and so forth. So therefore, let's go to the Latin one, because Latin has preserved those names. So Saturni, like Saturn, Solis is the sun, Lune, that's the moon, Martis is Mars, Mercury is that Wednesday, that's Mercury. Then Lovis, that is the Jupiter, or Zeus, and then Veneris or Venus, that is referring to Shukra, the planet Venus. So in Latin it is preserved. In Sanskrit, of course, it is preserved, because Latin came from Sanskrit. In Marathi, it is preserved. So my question, Aditya ji, is like, so why that sequence? Do you happen to know? And I'm asking you the question so that viewers can also imagine and see if they can answer that question.
I don't
Why
know, but
that's
I don't know, but I see the word Thai for Brihaspati.
yes,
Brihaspati, Brihaspati, Barabad. It cannot be a coincidence.
it's not. Well, I mean, Thai culture, like a Thai king is a Rama. You remember Rama 1,
Yes,
Rama 2, Rama 10. So in fact, see, the Thai is not a I was going to come to Thai and the last three columns. See, the Thai is not a surprise. Balinese is also not surprise,
right.
because Indonesia has a huge influence of Indian culture. But Mongolian, would you say that was a surprise to you?
It was a surprise
But
because
look at Mongolian.
similar.
So
It's a very similar.
identical. See, the second line, the Sunday is your name, and the same thing in the Thai language too. And by the way, Balinese, it's a Atit, after Aditya.
Yes.
And Reddit is also, it's like a Ra for Ravi, and is getting combined, with Aditya. That is that Reddit,
Mm,
or also Arka. Arka is another name of a sun getting combined with Aditya.
mm.
Arka Aditya become that Reddite, that you see in the
Yes.
Balinese. And Adya, that is like that Mongolian. But also
Yes.
look at the Saumya for moon, Angarak for Mars, Buddha for Buddha, Bruhaspad for Bruhaspati, and Sugar like for Shukra. So Mongolian, I mean, you can see the influence of Indian civilization to even in Mongolia and preserved to this day. That's something amazing.
Angara is also fire, like fire,
Which is
because of
that's why see Mars is red.
bread.
Mars is red. The name of Mars is Angar,
Angara,
one of the Lohitango,
Lohita,
like a burnt oil. I mean, what you call heated iron.
iron,
Lohitango. Yeah,
Lohitango. And
Angar.
also in the Thai also Bhanu Asar Van Atit. Again,
Yeah,
similar Aditya and
correct. Everything actually. The Chandra, that's Chan, is coming from Chandra, the moon.
Balinese for Saturday is Sanishchar.
Yes, exactly the name Sanskrit name
Sanchir,
for Saturn.
Sanskrit name, Mongolian also Sanchir,
Correct.
which
Same
is
thing with the Shukra, Brahaspati, Buddha, Angaraka, right? So that's just amazing. Now the English slightly changed because of the Norse mythology, the Norse god coming into it, some Roman gods and some mixture. However, they do, I mean, if you go back, the Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday, like a Thor and Friday, it does go back to these planets. I mean, somehow even they are connected back to Mars and Mercury and Jupiter and this. Okay, so that's the sequence. But again, my question to you, do you happen to know why in that sequence? What I'm saying is, why Sunday comes after Saturday, why Monday comes after Sunday, why Tuesday, or that is the Mars day, comes after Moon day, and why Mercury day comes after Mars day, and so on.
no,
No, right? If
yes,
you ask anyone in the world, they will not able to answer it. Now, of course, they can Google and they will get some answer, but still they will not able to say where the origin is. In fact, you are going to get most ridiculous explanations. Many times without any evidence, zilch, no evidence, they will say these days, this sequence of the days came from Babylonia. And I have no problem with that in this way. Even the Babylonia was influenced by Indian civilization. Babylonia
yeah,
means modern
classic,
day Iraq,
yeah.
right? Iraq. But my point is, even what is the evidence? And you afterwards, I will encourage viewers to actually go and type these words in Google and try to see what they find. They might refer to Babylonia. Actually, they will always refer to Babylonia. But then they will say, oh, well, exactly, there is no evidence of Babylonians using this name. I mean, how funny is that, right? So we are going to find out what is the reference, where did it come from. But before that, just something funny, like before somebody, jumps up and says, well, hold on, actually the Greeks knew about it, the Romans knew about it, or maybe, medieval times they knew about it, why this particular sequence existed and what was the logic behind it. I want to pull some things from a book that was written not that long ago, like 125 years ago, 1893, by Sir Oliver Lodge. Okay, the title of the book is Pioneers of Science. And something I want to show, something very funny. Just like I said, for the origin of the weekday names, people will always refer in Wikipedia and the social media, the Google, and I mean whatnot, as Babylonia. And but there is no evidence, even they have to admit. But it's sometimes very funny how the Hinduism would be misrepresented. In this particular book, what you are saying, Aditya ji, at the top is, it says Hindu Earth, if you can read it. And it is describing Hindu Earth as a turtle, turtle as at the bottom. And then on the top, so that's like a flat at the bottom. Then there are 4 elephants in 4 different directions. And then on the top is like a cover, the sky. And it claims that was the view of the Hindu Earth, like, which is to say the Hindus thought the earth was flat, and then the sky kind of looks curved. That's why it looked like this, and they represented the 4 direction with 4 elephants. What I tried to do is try to see if I can find the reference to this, which Hindu text they were referring to. I went one after another. Actually, I could not find the original text. Now, I am saying there is actually, you would know, I mean, you would know much better than I would, that there is also a imagery in Bhagavad Purana or many other Puranas, that the whole earth is settled on the back of a tortoise, like during the Sagar Manthan, right? Samudra
That-
Manthan
yeah,
kind of thing.
that's not the earth, it's the Mandara mountain, huh?
Mandara mountain, right? But the Mandara mountain sometimes can be imagined to be the support for the earth,
Support
like
for
the
the earth.
axis. Yeah. So
Yeah.
in that case, it may be seen like this. But my point is, the way it is shown is really nowhere to be found. They have given some references, but when you go look for that reference, it is not found. So sometimes people, our viewers or others who will watch it afterwards on the YouTube, they may look at this picture, or they may read somewhere in the book and says, oh my God, look at these Hindus. I mean, that's what they were thinking. And I'm not saying anything wrong with it. I mean, 150 years ago, if you go back before Darwin, I mean, people thought Bible is the history for the Western world. So we do best with whatever is available at this point. But I want to show you what a wonderful understanding of the earth, the world existed in the Indian astronomy. Okay, so therefore I deliberately showed you this picture, nothing to do with the days. Something interesting, this is a book from 1893, mind you, and look at those maps. Do you see something fascinating about it? The left side, the one on the left side is the northern hemisphere, so this
Correct.
is America, this is Greenland, and this is Russia, and this is the part of the Europe. Now, if you go to the southern hemisphere, this is Australia, this is kind of a New Zealand, this is like Africa or South America area coming closer there. South America, not Africa. Do you notice something? The Antarctica is not shown.
Correct.
Okay, so 1893, and there were many expeditions to southern part of the world, right from 1500, as far as the Western Europe is concerned. But even in 1893, they were not 100% sure about the landmass in the south. At least not everyone. At least Sir Oliver Lodge was not aware of it in 1893. I just want to bring it to that attention, because in this context, you will start appreciating, and our viewers hopefully will start appreciating, how fascinating and how deep is the antiquity, but the expertise and the precision and accuracy of Indian astronomy. Okay, so, and then Sir Oliver Lodge does a good job of explaining at least the sequence of this planet, sequence of the days of the week, using the planets. Okay, I will not go into that circle and explain it. So he explains how it was done, but still, if you read his book, there is no awareness of the astronomy reason behind it, other than saying maybe that's what they did, and there should have been in 1893, they should have had this understanding, because they had already taken Surya Siddhanta and all that, and those things have gone to Europe with the Jesuit, from Kerala and parts of India in like a 17th century, 18th century. So they should have known this. All right. So this was just a quick background. So
So on
in
on
this
the
book
elephants.
also, so 18, yeah,
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. You complete your sentence. Sorry.
yeah. So even in the end of the 19th century, it's important to know that of course, they knew the sequence of the days, but there was no there was no comprehension of a logic behind the sequence of the days. Go ahead. You wanted to say something about the elephants.
In Ramayana,
Hmm.
the Valmiki, when there is a description about the Sagar Maharaj
Hmm.
digging the ocean for
Hmm.
Bhagirath, for
Hmm.
Ganga to come down. So the 60,000 suns, when they go in all
Huh.
the four directions, they meet elephants.
Hmm.
Now we need to know whether that was allegorical or there is some other proof to that. Uh, some analysis needs to be done, but there is a description of elephant in each of the directions.
Yeah, well, it could be allegorical, as you, I mean, as you, one of the option you suggested, but I wouldn't be surprised if they actually ended up seeing the elephant-like elephants or elephant-like creatures in all directions, because we are talking of a time long before, like 14,000 years ago, and especially when you go before Younger Dryas, we know that there were elephant-like creatures like the mammoths everywhere around the world.
Mhm.
So not a surprise. But let me bring back to this now, against this flat earth, or against this some fake imagery of what people thought was an Indian Hindu view of the earth. This is from Surya Siddhanta. Okay, and in a minute I'll tell you how old it is, and this was my paper I presented at Oxford University, Oxford conference. So this, what you're seeing at the top is the earth at the center, and if you expand the grid against the sky, then you have this celestial grid, the longitudes and latitudes, or right ascension, declination, and the earth at the center. But how is the earth described in Surya Siddhanta? It is described, I will not read the verse, but it's from a Bhugoladhyay, that is the 12th chapter, you can say, of Surya Siddhanta. It says, Sarvatraiva Mahigole, Swasthana Muparistitam, Manyate Khe Yato Golas Tasya Kwa Urdhva, Kwa Urdhvam, Kwa Vapyada. Quick translation, thus everywhere on the surface of the terrestrial globe, it uses the word globe, Bhugol, even the whole chapter is called Bhugol, and the goal, it says, people suppose their own place higher than that of others. Yet this globe is in space where there is no above nor below. Because if you look from outside, from the creationist, Brahma's point of view, then there is no above or below. It depending on which view. Do you twist your neck to look at the earth, or what do you do, right? So there is no above or below. This is from Bhugoladhyay, and the paper that I presented with my co-researcher, Mrs. Rupa Bhattiji, was we showed the latest updates to Surya Siddhanta actually go from 14,500 BCE, then down to our times, like 12,000 BC, 7,800 BC, 5,300 BC, 3,000 BC, 580 CE. Okay, so it is more than that old. It's more than 17,000 years old. Okay, and that's what we are talking. And the specific event that we describe there from this particular chapter, not this particular verse, it takes us to 12,000 BC. It takes us to the time of Ramayana. Okay, it is that old. Now that's what I wanted to show you, how old is this text, and we are going to bring the evidence for these days from this text. Okay, so this is just from astronomy, and I want to quickly go and show you that from Ramayana, and Aditya ji, you and me should do these 4 different sessions on this, which is geography as described in Valmiki Ramayana, like
Correct.
the world geography. Okay, and it's beautiful descriptions in all 4 directions with India at the center. And east, it is described from India to Andes. In the south, it is described from India to Antarctica. In the west, it is described from India to Alps, and in the north, it is described from India to Arctic. So somehow the Ramayana times, for some reason, were not that aware of the Atlantic portion, Atlantic Sea. So that's what it appears. All right. So now I'm going to get right into the evidence. So this is from Surya Siddhanta. Okay, this is one verse, and just see the beauty of it. Just one shloka. This is same from that same chapter, Bhugoladhyay. That was a verse number, I forgot whatever number was, 14 or so. Now this is number 78. Okay, and I'm going to give a quick translation. Uh, Now remember, this Surya Siddhanta is like it's not an introductory text on astronomy. It's a very, it's a text, it's like a pocket book, a quick guidebook for the use of someone who is already expert in astronomy. So the language is very, very cryptic. Okay, so I'll read the translation. It says, starting from the Saturn downward. And that's why I said, let's start with the Saturn for our discussion today. Okay, so starting with the Saturn downward, the fourth graha is called the Lord of the Day. Okay, Divasa Adhipa. The grahas starting from the Saturn successively downwards are the lords of the hour. Now, if you just read this, and if you're not expert in astronomy, you will not know what they're trying to say. So let's understand what they're trying to say. So what I have done in the first column is I have taken the visible planets, visible to the naked eye. Okay, so it starts with the Saturn. That's the farthest planet that we can see in the solar system. We cannot see easily anyways Uranus, and then definitely we cannot see Neptune and Pluto with our naked eyes. Okay, so Saturn is that's where we are starting. So Saturn is the slowest planet. That's why the name Shaneshchara, slow. Then Jupiter, okay, as seen from the Earth. Then Mars, then Sun, then Venus, then Mercury, and then Moon. Okay, because Moon will do it in 27 days, Mercury in 88 days, Venus takes close to a year but shy of 1 year, so it's faster than Sun. Then Mars takes 1.88 years, Jupiter takes like 12 years to complete the whole circle around the Earth, and Saturn takes 30 years. Okay, so we are going from 30 years down to 27 days. Then what it is saying is, for as you go down through the Saturn, for each, as you go downwards, for each hour, okay, hora. By the way, Aditya ji, the hora, usually you hear that it's a Greek word, and it is a Greek word. But Varahamir explains, this is going back like what, 1500 years to 2000 years back. Varahamir explains that the hora comes from ahoratra. Aho is the day, Ratra is the night in the Indian system. Yeah, and so A was dropped and the Tra was dropped, so to say, and the middle Hora was kept, and that turned into an hour. So now what we are doing is, see, every hour, every hour has got a specific planet attached to it as the Lord of that hour. Adhipati of the hour, and then there is a Adhipati of the day. So how do we figure it out? We start, let's say, that's why I start with the Saturn. So if the Adhipati of the, of that number 1 is Saturn, that the first day we are going to call, it's going to be Saturday. So therefore, let's say we start the week today. We are going to call today is a Saturday. Okay, so number 1. Then we start assigning the numbers 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, all the way to those planets until Moon. Then again, we come back to Saturn. We keep on going until we complete 24 hours. Okay, so the first day is a Saturn. Then we started counting the 24 hours. Remember what we are doing? We are assigning one planet as a lord, as a adhipati to that particular hour, to Hora. Okay, Hora adhipati or Horesha, Isha, Isha of a Hora, Horesha. So when that 24 is done and we come to the next one, now we got the next day. So after Saturn, now we got Sunday. So you see, we have got 7 planets in the first column, and we are assigning 24 hours in the sequence to each of those planets, going 1, 7, and 8 to 14, and 15 to 21. And now we got
actually
Sunday.
Very interesting thing you said, because based on these numbers, I can see Sandhya time.
I'm going to come to that in a minute.
4,
I mean,
11,
you can go
18.
ahead.
4, 11, 18. And in the next 24 hours is 8, 15, 22. So it's that's the 18th hour, which is very accurate.
Oh, is it? Okay, wonderful. Okay, wonderful. I didn't know that. Okay, that's wonderful. You can explain it to me. I mean, I see the numbers here, but I am not aware of the connection with the Sandhya hours, like doing a Sandhya you are talking, right? like a 3 Sandhya type of thing. Okay,
Yeah,
so
go ahead.
let's say if you go counting there from 24. So now what's going to happen is when you complete 24, now you got that one. So after Saturday, there will be Sunday, and after Sunday, there will be Monday. Do you see?
Exactly.
Wherever that one comes, that's going to be the next day.
Hmm.
Okay. And that's how it will continue. And then it will get repeated with a Saturn. Okay. That's how it works. This is from Surya Siddhanta. Okay. Now, what you just said, that Sandhya Vandan, the timing of a Sandhya Vandan. Well, you are going to see that with the exactly same thing explained, but in a slightly different fashion. Because, people understand the same thing when explained in a different fashion.
Different
So,
fashion.
so
Yes.
Surya Siddhanta explained in one way. Now, you may explain to someone using that Sandhya timings, right? And the person will immediately say, now I understand, right? So let me take you quickly to Aryabhatiya. Again, the whole thing is explained in 2 lines, one shlok, one verse. Okay, this comes into Aryabhatiya, the place, the individual section called Kala Kriya Pad, and shlok number 6. It says Saptete Horesha. Again, you can hear the same word, 7 Horesha. Shaneshcharadya Yathakramam Shigra, Shigra Krama Chaturtha. It's giving a quick mnemonics, and I'll show you what that means. Bhavanti Suryo Dayat Dinapa. And there are verses before this, there are verses after this, so there is a reference to this. So the translation is the above mention, meaning the mention in the previous verse, and what was mentioned in the previous verse is shown that the Saturn is the slowest, and then Jupiter, then Mars, then Sun, then Venus, then Mercury, and then Moon. So that sequence is given in the previous verse in Aryabhatiya. Then it says the 7 grahas beginning with Saturn, which are arranged in the order of increasing velocity, okay, are the lords of the successive hours. So since Moon does it fastest, 27 days, it was thought that the Moon is going the fastest, okay, the increasing velocity. And it says, it gives another quick formula. It says the grahas occurring the 4th in the order of increasing velocity are the lords of the successive days. And how do you reckon this? You reckon from the sunrise, that is the Sandhya time that you refer to in Lanka. Okay, the Lanka is the 0 longitude, 0 latitude. So if you see, this again may not be very easily understandable, but the diagram really helps. Again, we have the exactly same thing in the first column. We have the same thing for the Hora, okay? Except what we are doing is, here it is saying, you start counting from the sunrise in Lanka. So what we did is, suppose the first day, Saturday morning, we call that Saturday, okay? And when do we start counting? 6 o'clock. So just for a simplicity, I'm doing it 6 o'clock. It doesn't have to be 6 o'clock, but the fact remains that you will have always 24 hours in a day. So you start at 6 o'clock here. So that's my Saturday. Now I start counting 7, 8, 9, and I will go all the way until I get next day sunrise, which we are approximating to 6 o'clock. You follow? So
Yes.
I'm again counting 24. So that's 6 o'clock. Now that's Sunday,
From
again
the
6
time
o'clock.
perspective.
Yeah, time perspective, correct. And the one thing that it said, it gave a quick mnemonics. It says, okay, you don't have to count this 24 times, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, all the way to 24. You can just look at the very first column and you can say, okay, if my Saturn is my first day, then from Saturn as a 1, if I just count 1, 2, 3, 4 and go down the column, the 4th is a Sunday. Sunday would be my next day. So I'll show you here. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, if I want to find out what comes after Sunday, I say 1, Sunday is 1, 2, 3, 4. I get Monday. If I want to know what's going to come after Monday, I say Monday is 1, then 2, 3, and 4. After Monday will come Tuesday. So that is what is shown here. So let's say you start counting from there, 1, 2, 3, and 4. And that will also tell you what's going to come after Tuesday. It will be Wednesday, because you just count simply 4 numbers, including that number.
Mm.
That's the short form, instead of doing this whole 24. So that was the logic that was used.
Amazing. Amazing. I think most of the people don't know this kind of logic in such details.
So this is a very methodical astronomical explanation for the sequence for the days of the week. Now, in spite of that, what you will find is that Indian calendar, our whole Ramayana, Mahabharata, once in a blue moon you do see the reference to the Vasara, like the Sanskrit name you saw, Bhauma Vasara, and all that. But very rarely in Ramayana one reference only comes which refers to Guru Pushya Yoga, like the Pushya Nakshatra on a Thursday, on the Guruvar, but very very rare. And the reason is, if you what do you know what is the reason why, in spite of the fact India was the inventor or discoverer, what do you want to call it, for the sequence of the days of the week, India itself did not much relied on the days in their ancient Indian narratives, because in some sense these are arbitrary, Adityaji. Because if what day I call today is somewhat arbitrary, if I don't know, suddenly say I ended up on one island and in between I don't know how much time went by, I don't know what to call that day. I mean, I can start with Thursday, I can start with Saturday. Do you understand?
Yes.
So therefore, it can create a relative confusion between two people, two group of people traveling, and so on. So they did not use, although they discovered, they did not make use of this. Instead, they relied on the tithi and a nakshatra, because it does not matter whether you get stuck on one island. You are going to see the exactly same thing that the other people are going to see, the phase of the moon and the position of the moon, and based on the full moon position, and based on that you will able to figure it out which month it is and which tithi and which nakshatra and so on. So that's why you don't see it. Quickly, one more thing. Now, what I did when I figured this out. Okay, now Bhagavad Puran comes into the picture here. Those people who are a lover of Srimad Bhagavad Puran will love this. uh, I had sort of figured this out. I'm trying to think, say 2010 or somewhere there. I don't remember the exact date, or maybe even earlier. But I was not ready to publish it. And I'll tell you what the problem was. Because remember, in that sequence there that I showed you, we need 24 hours. Like we need a whole day divided into 24 hours. Whereas most of the Indian time calculation stuff that is available, you see the division of a one day into 30 muhurtas of 48 minutes.
Correct.
But I was not finding any division in a Indian literature of a day into 24 buckets, because that's what I needed if I wanted to make sense of what Surya Siddhanta was saying and what Arya Bhatia was saying. So I said, okay, I'm looking for it. I want to ask people on certain forums, guys, do you know anything? And they will just keep on giving me the same references to Muhurta, like 48 minutes. And you know what? This is a long story. I'll tell you some other time. It is like a synchronicity kind of thing. Like I was very frustrated sitting, in my like a study, like this study actually, where you see me right now. And something like as a flash of intuition, it came. It said, go upstairs, okay, my puja room, and look at the Bhagavad Puran, either Skanda 3 or Skanda 4. Sorry, Skanda 5.
This is Skanda 5.
I'm not kidding, Aditya. No, this is actually Skanda 3, by the way.
Time
this is Skanda 3,
yes.
11 adhyay, and verses number 1 through 12.
Right.
But my point is, I cannot tell you what it was. I mean, this is like some people will not believe what I'm telling. But I was so frustrated, and as if like somebody spoke in my ear. I mean, this may not be digestible to many. But some intuition, it's not like a voice, but I'm saying some intuition that came. And of course, I am familiar with Srimad Bhagavatam, so partly that is the reason, So because I know, like in the third canto, there is the discussion of the time and matter, right? And there is some description in the fifth skanda also. So maybe that was the reason. But it gave me some conviction that if I go up there and look for it, I will get the answer. Now I'm saying, I got the feeling as if like I will more than likely get the answer. But that time it was a conviction that yes, go there, look, the answer is there. And actually I went there, and I have written about it on a Bharat Rakshak forum, like as early as like 2012, 2013, by the way, another forum. So when I went there, in less than 30 minutes, because I knew exactly where I wanted to look, Skanda 3, and even within the Skanda 3 also, I was looking for something to do with the time, matter, Parmanu, Anu, something like this. And Skanda 5, and I found this. Quickly, I want to highlight this, which is this. the exact, see here, if you take the verse before, like number 7, the duration of 3 lavas, I'll not go into the detail, but the point being, the lagu is the 15 of them, meaning lagu refers to plus minus 2 minutes. And the exact 15 of those, if you take those lagu, so that because of that, it's going to go on both sides. So it will going to turn into 30 minutes. And 2 of them make a muhurta. So here in a Bhagavad Puran, in this specific context, the muhurta is used, the length of a muhurta is equal to 60 minutes instead of 48 minutes. You see that?
Exactly.
And as soon as that happens, then the whole day gets divided into 24 buckets. I have the whole thing, everything that I needed to write that appendix. And by the way, I'll stop this and I'll mention it. And so I came down after half an hour, and in next 1 hour, I wrote down the appendix. I wrote down the appendix to my book. So this is, I think, my last slide. So what I'm going to say is, those people who may want to read more about it, they can actually go to my blog, nileshok.wordpress.com, and type origin of weekday names. Or it is also there, those of you who may already have this book, The Historic Rama, the 12,209 BC, or if you are outside India, on Amazon, The Historic Rama. It is there in the appendix of the Historic Rama book. So that's where I want to stop. Let me stop sharing.
In the 5th canto also, there is a description of the planets and the movement of sun.
Correct.
And people may be surprised that how accurately they write and confidently is written, as if they knew it. And the speed of the sun also.
No, they knew it. See, for example, in the 3rd canto, Skanda 3, like where I just read, and I deliberately cut the verses before, like 1 through 6,
Correct.
because of the space issue. They are talking of measuring the 1,600th of a second.
Correct.
Like a 0.00057, So if you go to that level, I don't know what they were using that 1,000th of a second for, what was the purpose?
Trisarenu, the movement of the sun particle when it comes and the movement of it against the sun. So
very good.
That's the speed they're using.
Very good. But I still don't know what moment they're referring to, but very, very interesting. They're saying, okay, that moment is equal to 0.00057th of a second. And from there, they built to you blinking. Blinking is like considered as a certain time, and goes all the way to Prahar and all the way to sunrise to sunrise.
Even the Brihadaranya Purana Upanishad mentioned the Ekagra Shata Bhagasya, like the 1/10,000th part of the tip of the hair. And that's the dimension of the soul.
Interesting.
Now for the modern calculation, you cannot see that in a microscope also. Even if you put it some very strong microscope, what 1/10,000th part of the tip of the human hair is the dimension of the soul.
Right. It would be worth calculating. See, I worked in a transmission microscopy, so I did go to the angstroms and nanometers, scale. I was cryo ultra microtomist, making very, very thin sections of metals and plastics and whatnot. But this is fascinating. Maybe what Bhagavad was trying to say, just like Bhagavad Gita says, even if you talk about the Atma, you can talk as much as you like, but still you are equally confused. you wouldn't know. So it's saying, don't try to find it under the microscope.
Exactly. So that small particle, it can go through a computer screen. It can go through a hard surface. It doesn't matter. It's so small.
Correct.
For them, the size is so small that a very dense rock will look like you're entering a palace with a large door.
Correct.
That's how small it is.
Yes. Beautiful metaphorical comparison. Yeah. So quick summary, mine is that only India, as far as the documented evidence goes around the world, it is only India, and this is not to do the back thumping or anything like this. This is just a factual evidence that is out there. Only India that has the logic why the sequence is that way. And not only that, it has got a extremely sophisticated logical astronomy explanation for the sequence and the names of the weekdays.
No, great point and great slides. I think I learned a lot today. As usual, it's always a learning experience with you, Nilesh. One thing people have to be encouraged is I think when they read our scriptures or history, they should read with an open mind, just like they read with a
Yes.
Western audience author. Generally, it is seen that we take Western authors more seriously than Indian authors, which should not be the case. And
Correct.
I think there are more Indian writers writing now than ever before. So thank you, Nilesh ji, for this
Thank
wonderful topic.
you.
And viewers, keep watching, keep subscribing, and we'll come back with more shows. I think Nilesh ji has a list of topics ready, and we'll come up with more shows which will take us deeper into our own history and identity. Thank you. Namaskar.
Namaskar.